big can it be, really?
Close to the Sun is a walking adventure game that very much wears its inspirations on its sleeve. You play as a girl called Rose who has been called upon the ship called the Helios, which was built by Nicholas Tesla by her sister Ada. And right away you can get from the Art Deco style as well as this sort of person that people looks up to, you get a lot of Bioshock inspirations, but thankfully the game doesn't rest on the laurels of somebody else's work. And Close to the Sun is a really intriguing mystery game that isn't essentially a walking simulator, but it's not the horror game you may think it is either. You can see various inspirations beyond Bioshock to games like Outlast and Firewatch, but it's not the horror game that it sometimes seemingly portrays. Instead, it becomes more like a mystery thriller that has a bunch of questions that are asked throughout the runtime of the game of about 6 hours, but never really answers a whole lot and leaves stuff up in the air for a potential sequel or a follow-up. Which is totally fine, but because of that setup, I felt like the closing moments of the game were a little underwhelming because of the lack of closure, I guess. Like, I kind of ended the end of the game as sort of a moment, a spark of a possibility without it ever carrying through. And you can tell they were trying to get that twisty moment that you had in games like Bioshock, but they didn't pay it off in here. Regardless, Close to the Sun is an absolutely beautiful game to look at. You can probably see just from the video alone. The Art Deco style, like I said, it is like very much. I will mention this game one more time. It does remind you quite a bit of Bioshock, but I'm gonna stop mentioning that game now because it kind of does the game a disservice, because it doesn't just sort of recreate that visuals. It does a pretty good story that's told relatively well. It's voice acted well enough, but it's paced well too. I think it keeps you going through its playtime. It's not particularly long, or like, it doesn't drag on, and neither does it feel like it could have been longer. I felt like the length of the game is just right. But I really just liked exploring this ship and seeing the art style in particular, sort of building upon its themes that are here, like time travel and what ifs, and there's quite a bit here that sort of can get you to think and talk, but there's not a lot to feel, like I said, closure. And I think that's where the big game's biggest downfall is to me, is that I finished the game feeling like I didn't get the answers that were asked from the beginning, and instead I got a setup to something bigger, which is totally fine. I just also would have liked at least some story threads close, or at least sort of make things a little more ambiguous in the sense of like, just sort of, you had a story but there's another one yet to be told within it, or at least encompassing it. Regardless though, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this game. The character of Rose is totally fine. Tesla is a good character from what you see of him, and just like I said, I just think exploring the Helios is an absolutely, like, it's 100% the star of this game. Each area feels diverse as well and holds true to the art style. But you won't also be going through beautiful Art Deco moments. There'll be times where you get into sort of the industrial side of things, and then there's also like the almost supernatural side, which I won't really go into. But there are moments where there's chase sequences that really feel out of place, because the rest of the game has a great score and visuals to allow you to just explore the world a little bit more and take things in. But other than that, I think Close to the Sun, if you're looking for a sort of, I wouldn't call it a walking simulator, because there's some small puzzle elements. They're all incredibly simple. There's nothing that will stump you, but it's not particularly a walking simulator. There's a bit more exploration, a bit more puzzle solving, and like little tiny quests to do. But if you're a fan of Bioshock, if you're a fan of sort of history or alternate history games, especially built around the Art Deco style, it's 100% worth playing. I really enjoyed my time with it, and I really hope that we see more from it, despite its up in the air ending that I kind of wish sort of had a better landing. But still, it's a really enjoyable game.